Hey guys, in this video I'll be comparing Chris Bumstead from the 2023 Olympia and Kalecinski from the 2023 Texas State Pro. As you all know, placed third at this year's Olympia. However, many, myself included, believed that brought an improved package to the Texas State Pro, a show he definitely won decisively. I also believe that has the closest structure to Chris, as both have incredible X frames. Now, before the video does start, if you guys enjoy my content, a like and sub would be much appreciated, as it helps grow the channel. With that all being said, let's get into this video. Alright, here's the first pose, the front double bicep shot, and this one you can really see, the structural similarities that both share. Comparing the torsos, I actually much prefer as it looks way more streamlined, and I love the way he aesthetically twists in the pose. Chris has an equally impressive midsection from an objective standpoint, and probably a genetically superior one too. The lats on these guys just flare out tremendously, and their conditioning is spot on. Looking at the legs, both showcase immense detail and separation in the quads. However, has a prettier set of quads, while Chris has some rugged looking ones. In terms of size, Chris definitely has the advantage here, but battles back with drier looking conditioning and better separation in those quads in my opinion. Although it has been, rather competitive throughout this shot, downfall definitely lies within his Achilles heel, which would be his arms. Chris, while not known for having amazing arms, definitely smokes here, and for that reason he wins this pose. The front lat spread is not a mandatory pose for these guys, so we can disregard it in terms of judging. That being said, we can take a look at it and critique them in the pose. Now, I really do think that Chris has one of the best, most aesthetically pleasing, front lat spreads that I've ever seen, and he does dominate in the width and the lat department. Both have amazing conditioning, and their lower halves look outstanding. However, the overall shape and structure is so much better for Chris in the pose. Now, don't get me wrong, guys, does look great. However, his waist doesn't look nearly as small because his clavicle width isn't nearly as wide as Chris's. Here's the side chest, and in this pose you can see just how much of a gap there still is between and Chris. Chris has so much more detail in the side leg, with a more pronounced quad ham tie-in, better glute striations, and in general more side quad separation, and his chest and arm is twice as thick as Ursa's. Now does have some great shoulders and amazing upper body conditioning, however his leg, while comparable in size, doesn't have nearly as much separation and looks a bit less dry. Chris definitely takes this pose easily, as his muscularity is really over the top. Like the side chest, this is a dominant shot for Chris, a pose that really needs no explanation. Just looking at their backs reveals the disparity in density, definition, and width. Chris's lats and lower back are so much thicker than but I will give some credit. His upper back does look rather defined and developed, specifically in the traps. Again though, Chris kills in the arms and the upper body as a whole. However, does have a very comparable lower body, which looks to be even drier than Chris's. That being said, even if the lower half is close, the upper body is just pure domination and really is no match at all for so Chris definitely has this shot in the bag. Here's the conventional ab and thigh shot, and in this shot, I'd say that it is very close. Both have great symmetrical abs, fantastic quads, and great V-tapers. In this variant, I'd say that both look very comparable and that the shot is extremely close. However, if we move into the vacuum pose, you can see that it is a very different story. Now you can see that Chris's width and V-taper are light years ahead of The vacuum absolutely transformed this shot for Chris, turning it from a great one into a world-class, best of the best type of pose. Doesn't necessarily look bad by any means. However, his V-taper is not as good and his vacuum isn't as deep. If it wasn't obvious, Chris nails the pose perfectly in both variations, which would give him the victory over in this shot. Here's the last shot, the favorite classic pose, and here you can see that they are both hitting a very similar shot. Both look phenomenal here, and is actually the one that stands out to me the most, as his posing in these more classical frontal shots is really just immaculate. Every part of his physique flows really well, even his arms, which are normally a weak point, look great. That being said, Chris doesn't have any weaknesses in this shot, and looks just as complete as His arm is larger, and he has a better torso, and his V-taper appears more pronounced. Guys, both look amazing here, so let me know down below which physique you prefer in this shot. Personally, I do prefer here, as he looks really aesthetic. However, this one could really go either way. Alright, that about does it for this video. Even with this improved version of Urs, I still think he needs to bring up his arms, his back, and the thickness from the side in order to stand head to head with Chris or even Ramon Dino. Chris is definitely leagues ahead in terms of size, and I really do think that Urs's conditioning will only carry him so far. He needs to pack on a little more size onto that amazing structure to really accentuate both his X frame and V taper. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Let me know down below if you think that Urs could win an Olympia someday, and I'll see you all in the next one. Thanks for watching.